guys, welcome back to another video from the channel Learn from Basics. This is Joe here, and in today's video we are going to be making a really cool maze game. But this is going to be part 1 of us making a really cool maze game. In today's video we are going to make the starting screen of the maze game, where we are going to create some graphics to the buttons. And by graphics, you'll know what I mean later when we get into the code. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now, first, before we do anything, we have to make a pretty cool loading screen. So we're going to go to Sprite 1, and we're going to click on Paint. And now, you're going to choose any two colors you like. And the two colors I like are red and blue. So we are going to get this, and we're going to match it up with the center, and then we're going to make it bigger. And on the screen, we can drag it to the center just in case. And if you want to make it bigger, you can using that. But then after you do that, to make this multicolored, we can click on this bucket over here. And if we click on fill, we have multiple gradients. I'm going to choose this one, but you can choose any one you like. And then as I said, my favorite colors are red and blue. So let's choose red and blue. And we can set that up. Now for my loading screen, I am going to make a character. I'm going to make a character kind of like sitting there. So this is going to be his head. And then we can make his body like just using a black suit. So, oh no, let's make that. And then we can make another one that's black. And we can make it a bit bigger. And maybe we can move it to the side. And then we can add another rectangle representing his arms, like that, and another rectangle representing his other arm. And then we can kind of put a white circle in the middle and a white rectangle representing a tie, and one over there with a white outline, because we want it to kind of blend in with the second part. And then we can make another white rectangle, making it look like a tie. And then we can make two eyes, like kind of making him feel like he's like, what just happened? So one eye, the two eyes are going to be wide open, and there's going to be a mouth that's going to be wide. Or you can just put a normal line and make it bigger. So you can click on the line to make it bigger, and then you can change the size up. I'm going to make it that big. And then maybe we can make it red. Let's make that. We have to make the outline red. Now as you can see, we kind of have a character. And then for the name of our game, I am going to use Escape the Palace, because that is kind of what I want my theme to be, but you can choose any theme you want. So we can make it bigger, and we're going to change it to white, because if we keep it at red, it kind of blends in. And now I want this to be kind of like an old game, so maybe we can use pixels. Escape the Palace. So we have an Escape the Palace button over here. And that's going to be our background, or our main screen when they enter the game. And then we're going to create 3 buttons. And in order to do that, we can click on Paint, and we can make a black square. So a black square. And then we need to make it bigger, because that's just a little too big for a button. Maybe a bit wider. And then I kind of want the buttons to be kind of like curved. So in order to do that, we can take the eraser and we can make them like that. And as you can see, we kind of have a cool button. But if you think that's too slanted, then you can make a little cut, and then we kind of have a pretty cool button. So now we can put this over there, and if you want, you can make it smaller. So if you want, you can make it smaller, just your wish. But the buttons have to be at least a rectangle. So I want to make it a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, and there you go. We have one of our buttons. And then we are gonna type in escape. We're gonna type in first. If they need help, we're gonna type in help, and we're gonna fill it in with white. And still I'm using the pixel theme because I want this to kind of be like old styled, but you can choose any font you want. But I'm gonna do help, and then we're gonna duplicate this, and instead of help, we're gonna type in play, and then we're gonna duplicate this, and instead of play, we're gonna do costume. And since that's too big, we can change the size to be a little bit smaller. So let's click out of there, make it smaller. And as you can see, if you make it too small, it gets upside down. So there you go. We have help, play, and costume. Now, what we're going to do in today's episode is we're going to create graphics. So when you coded a game to be interesting enough, but you have no graphics, then there's no use of the game. The whole point of graphics are to make the user be more interested in the game and to be suspectful. So graphics is key to a good game. And that's what we're going to do. In most really good games, when you hover over a button, it gets bigger. And that's called a graphic. And we're going to do the same thing. So I want you to distance out your buttons just a bit. And then go to each button and code events when flag clicked forever, and we're gonna say if the button is touching the mouse pointer or the mouse pointer is hovering over the button, then we want the button to change size to 100. But if it's not and the cursor is somewhere else, like hovering on play, then we want it to go to 90 because we want it to get bigger. Now see, when I hover over it, my button gets bigger, if you can see. And you can make it 80 if you want it to be like a bigger change. So, yeah, but I like 90. So we're going to do 90. And then help. Now, we're going to do this in every other one. Now, an easier way to do the same code in all the other buttons is to go to backpack, like click on backpack, and then drag the when flag clicked in the backpack until it gets blue. Leave it, close the backpack, go to the other one, click on the backpack, and it should load. And then you can drag the box that there is, and there you go. You have the code written for you. And now as you can see, if I touch each and every button, they get bigger as I touch them. That's one really cool graphic if you ask me. But here's what else we're going to do. We're going to make the text change color whenever our mouse pointer is hovering over the button. But before that, I think the costume button is a little bit too small, so we're going to make it bigger. So let's make it bigger. That's too big. There you go. Now, as you can see, whenever I hover over each one of these, they get bigger. But in order to make the color of the letters change, we first go to each and every button. And first we're going to start off with help. We're going to duplicate help. And now we're going to click on fill, and we're going to choose any two color sequences we like. For example, I'm going to choose purple and blue, maybe a lighter purple and a lighter blue, and as you can see, we have the color changed. And then same thing with play, but this time you can do another color, like a red to an orange. And then last but not least, you can do something like a blue to a pink, so a dark blue or maybe a light blue to a pink. Now, what's wrong with this? When the buttons are not being hovered on or not being touched, they're supposed to be white and ordinary. How do we do that? Well, that's simple. Number one, as you can see, I made the mistake of not duplicating costumes. So, yeah, you should always duplicate costumes. So, We're gonna make that white and we're gonna fill it. So we need it to be ordinary like this, and when we hover over the button, then it's supposed to get bigger. So how do we do that? Well, it's simple. In code, you just do if it's touching the mouse pointer, it has to get bigger, and it has to go to the colorful costume, which is costume 2 in my case. But if it's not being touched on, then it has to go to the less colorful costume, or costume 1 in my case. Now we're going to do the same thing with every other one. If it's being touched, or if it's being hovered on, costume 2. If it's not, costume 1. Same without. If it's being hovered on, it's going to switch to costume 2 or the more colorful one. If it's not, it's going to go to the ordinary one or costume 1. Now as you can see, all of them are white. But when I touch them or hover them, they get blue. Same with the play and same with the costumes. So now these are key graphics to get your player more interested in the game. And that's exactly what we did. As I said, graphics is key to a good game, and the more graphics you add, the better. But never ever add too much graphics because there has to be enough content as there's graphics. But that's all we're gonna do for today's video, guys. So as you can see, for today's video, we got to create some really cool graphics for the home screen. And in our next video, we are gonna create a short animation whenever we click any of these, it's gonna load. It's gonna be like a loading screen, and then it's gonna show up. But that's gonna be all for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. And before you go, don't forget to check out my other videos, which I also posted before you do this, where we make some cool video sensing games and a really cool translator that also converts text to speech, and we also learn really cool skills. So please help me out by going in there and checking out those videos, which should come in the poll about right now. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.